Hi, this is Dr. Scott Young, and today we're going to talk about more federal government guidelines. What it is a federal crime issue, a fraud issue that's coming up, and it's only for small businesses because only the small businesses were the criminals here. And I'm going to show you how this works. It's So nearly at the same time that I'd gotten an email from my bank, and I've been hearing this has been coming from other banks, right? But it depends on the time frame when they might send those out, right? November 6th, they are updating all of their systems. Now they're coming up with a big update, right? And it's going to be a very digital system. It's going to have a lot different access. And I'm thinking, QFS, right? No one will say anything about that, right? It's not going to happen with that when you hear that. But it's fascinating. November 6th, the day after the cabal election, what do they know? Okay, so let's talk about what it was. This is the email about this thing called FinCen. Let me explain it a little bit more. We're reporting to you a new federal reporting requirement, excuse me, Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. So they call FinCEN. Now think about that for a second. Now you would say we would call it FinCEN. There's no other way to say this, right? But I always think of financial sin, SIN. Huh. Interesting. So then they call this thing the report. And I'll show you a little bit more about how they're saying it here. The report is a beneficial owner information report that I have to do by December 31st, right? So this and here's the key points of the deadline. All existing businesses must register or have a penalty of $500 a day, but they don't tell you this one, potential $10,000 fine. Exemptions, some companies are exempt from this registration, right? And it's only 15 minutes, right? Here's this thing. And if you have questions about it, go talk to your tax preparer in essence, right? And I mean, I kind of had a hissy fit with the bank. And they're like, well, you got to go talk to your accountant with that too. Now I'm going to show you another thing here in a little bit, but let's go directly to the guideline itself. Okay. Let's flip you to this page here. This is how little they're telling you, right? So what they say is the Department of Treasury Financial Crimes Division began this accepting a report, right? Like as if this comes out of the sky from the Lord God above, right? A bipartisan corporate transparency act enacted in 2021. Huh. When would that be for? Would that be for? And by the way, when you realize, I think it comes around January, March, somewhere in that range of 2021. You mean with idiot fake Biden, right? Oh, gotcha. Launching the United States beneficial part, and by Janet Yellen, who's the fake, Treasury chairman. A corporate anonymity enables money laundering, drug trafficking, terrorism, and corruption, right? It harms American citizens, put law-abiding small businesses at a disadvantage. Okay, so who did the crime? Who are they saying? Let me pull this off the screen for half a second, right? Who did the crime? Who are they intimating did the crime? Not the small businesses and not the public citizens, but someone else. Let's go back to it again. The existing companies, blah, blah, blah. We just explained that. And it says you have to give name, date of birth, address, identifying. And so you're registering a person, business owner, right, to the business so that there can be transparency. And they're sending it through to the banks. Well, let's show you a fascination. And you can see I'm pretty hyped up on this. Exempt entities, securities agencies, security reporting agencies. So SEC Exchange Act of 1934, they're exempt from a 1934 thing. When was not what was happening in 1934? That's when we got off of the gold. It was 1 year after FDR took us off the gold standard in 1933. And you're going to hear in a little bit, you guys, I think it's on the 30th, you guys are going to hear Roger, the my lawyer guy, who's going to come on and he's going to talk about this. Now, I'm going to put this on. It'll probably happen on the 1st of November. So this is probably when you're going to see it. So you're already going to watch this. If you haven't watched Roger, you need to look at that because he talks about this particular act and this particular date. It's very significant for financial issues where they started messing with the with government things. So then it also says those who are government authorities, they are, like Indian tribe or provisional kind of things, they're exempt. Banks are exempt. Oh, banks have never done anything wrong in the history of the world, right? Credit unions, money service businesses. Wait a second. Businesses who interact with money don't have to be transparent, but the little business owner must be transparent. And it gets worse, by the way. Watch this. Brokers and dealers. Now, I do understand brokers and dealers because I know several of them, and they have reporting guidelines put on them post 2008, financial crisis that are so difficult for the small brokers that they're like, they have to report so many things, but the banks don't have to do the same reporting if they're doing mortgage brokering. But the brokers for this one are exempted on that one. Okay, let's see what else. Oh, investment companies. Wait, investment companies. Have investment companies ever moved and laundered funds for the criminals? Venture capital fund advisor. Wait a second. The advisor of a VC wouldn't have, they're exempt from this because they're totally transparent. Insurance companies like the Blue Cross Blue Shields, like the Aetna, like the United Health, like the Medicare, and all the other ones. Oh, they're exempt because they've always been super transparent and perfect, right? State licensure insurance producer. Now, this is a small business, but they do have, just like the mortgage broker, been put a lot of strictures on them. So I'm fine with that one, actually. I'll tell you that one. Here's another one. Commodity Exchange Act registered entity. Wait, those are commodity brokers who move money around, but they're exempt. Well, let's talk about some other ones. Public utilities. If you haven't studied Enron was tying into public utilities. They would be part of the VCs or part of the brokers or any one of those other ones. Oh, but the Enrons, don't think about Enron because they don't have to be part of this transparency. A tax exempt agency. Well, that would be like churches, 501c3s. Okay, not a problem. So you got 501c3s, but you have 508As, right? No problem. Oh, a political organization. Holy cow. They have been so above board and perfect. I can't even explain how perfect they are. Let's do another one. Let's see here. Oh, here's one of my favorite ones. Large corporate company. Think Amazon, think And this is actually bigger. I mean, it's what we would call some of the larger companies. So they're saying if you have, how do they say this here? If you're doing full-time employees of 20 or more, you have a gross receipts of 5 million. Um, and then they say inactive. Well, obviously, it's someone who went out of business with that too. So here's what I want you to see. We'll come back to me here in a sec. Here's what I want you to see. Big corporate business who have never ever gone against the law. Oh, they don't have to report. Insurance companies, they don't have to report. And that includes, by the way, I just included with those two in essence in that little area, the Pfizers, the Johnson and Johnson. Oh, they have never done anything with this kind of issue. A political candidate never has to do anything. So if you are in Congress or Senate or even in a mayor of a government, oh, you're fine. We don't have a problem with you. Banks, oh, the ones who actually do the job of transferring money all the way through. And it's, I mean, even accounting firms don't have to do this with that too. Now, they actually have regulatory agencies through the IRS and have to be, done this. I mean, have to be done many, many ways. But there are fascinating public utilities, venture capitalists. They have gone all of the big businesses, but little Scott with a couple small businesses that I run, my foundation, and I have my small business, my hearing business. Oh, Scott, you actually have to report. Now, here's the fascinating part. To set up a business bank account, let me explain what that takes. If you want to actually do a personal bank account, they're gonna check your credit. You give name, address, phone number, your social security number. You might have to give like a bill or something like that to show something up. But if you are a business opening up a business account, what they do is they have to see the business charter. They have to see, S corporation, LLC, blah blah blah. Then they have to see all of your. I mean, so you have to have the legal corporate structure that you have to show them. Then you have to show the principal financial people or the principal people who own anything, any shares in the company. So if there are three people, all three of those would have to report their name, address, phone number, personal information, and the social security number, right? That's to set up a business checking, business savings, whatever account that you might do. So that stuff is already done, but they want to throw all of you idiots, including Scott, under the bus because we are the ones who didn't do the financial crimes, and yet I have to report. Wait a second. Let me show you something that was fascinating. Now, listen, I love my bank in a lot of ways. A small bank here in the Tulsa area, but I want to show you what actually occurred to me. And this happens to me. You have no idea how many people steal my credit card, my business credit cards, all these other things. They've been attacking me so many times because I'm attacking in the Nasara kind of area, in the monetary situation, right? Watch this one. This actually happened in August of 2021. Someone got in through my bill pay, and I'm showing you the account number of this idiot. Her name is Rosamary or Rosalie Liaison, right? I'm showing your email too. And she went in, and instead of like a bill pay, like, where you might pay, your electricity and you pay it by bill pay, which means the bank, goes off and shunts the money and they use their own, their own check, and then they have to use their, they put their own stamp on it. So it's just a way to track it, right? And again, it's just like you writing a check, but it just makes it a little bit, more straightforward with that too. It's a more official check, blah, 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 right? So this moron decided to go on, and I'm going to show you actually an interesting one that she did. I'm going to upload this. It's such an amazing thing that happened. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm missing it. Actually, wish I could show you, but basically When we did this and we started, and this is the treasury of the bank. So Victoria, the treasury of the bank, treasurer of the bank, because every bank has a treasurer, right? The ones that makes, all the rules. They found it that day. It was like literally they did it on the 11th, and then on the 12th, we found it. We ripped the money back, and I went to the Tulsa police. I called, a one agency, and then they said, well, you got to go through your, Tulsa police. I gave it to a detective. I gave her there's a picture, and I can't really load it up here, with the exact location. I've got the name, email address, checking account, which actually has the routing number. And if you've listened to me before, the routing number is the exact information where you can know the bank, which is the connection to the Fed. This is why I'm saying all this stuff, right? And we have, down to the location of where she made that transaction, which means I have every piece of detail. In 3 years later, not a peep from anyone. No one did anything on this particular financial crime. But Scott has to report himself under penalty of a $10,000 fine and $500 a day if I don't do it by December 31st, when I have never done anything wrong in this kind of way. But Scott's got to do this because the idiot Biden administration, through Janet Yellen and all the corporation, requires me to do so. Now, if you guys will share this around on all the different networks here, we're going to put pressure upon banks, the corporations, and all of this stuff. And we're going to put so much pressure on them. I'm going to send this up to Congress and Senate people. I'm telling you right now, you are being fraudulent because you're actually deleted from the systems of reporting. But little tiny business owners, they are not exempt from this idiotic, ridiculous rule that you already know my information and my business ties already, as if we are the criminals. You see, this is what criminal cabal loves to do. They love to do the crimes, but then say that it was the American people. What? American people, did they do all this stuff? How did they do this? Right? There is an idiot on one of the news channels I can show you on another time frame, but basically says that Vice President Harris and President Biden were not in the judgment of the people. They should not be in judgment. The people should be in judgment if they don't vote the idiot in. Wait, we should be in judgment. We should be under the microscope because we don't do what the federal government wants you to do. Ha! Interesting. That's so funny. So FinCEN requires me to report, even though I've never done anything wrong, and they exempt all of the agencies that we can come up with. Every single one of these agencies, including venture capitalists and all the money people who have, oh my God, they have never done anything wrong in the history of the world. They are exempt, but I am not. This lunacy, I'm calling you out. I'm mad. I'm pissed. And guess what? I'm telling you right now, in Jesus' name, the blood of Jesus is upon all of you agencies. The blood that you have taken of the people by illegals, the blood that you have taken with child trafficking, the blood that is coming back on you, and I place judgment on all the FDIC banks. I place judgment on the venture capitalists. I place judgment upon the government. I place judgment on all of you for your financial crimes. And you try to say, and even the big corporations like Amazon and Walmart, oh, they've never done anything wrong. I place judgment on all of you. You are under the judgment of God. And you might want to do exactly what Jesus said: put a millstone around your neck and jump into the lake, because it will be better for you if you do that than on the day of judgment. I'm pissed. Guess what? I have the righteousness of God, the rage that's coming out, and it's coming because of this issue. So guess what? Share this around. We're going to be calling all of them out. Thanks so much.